Hey guys, Charlie Jewett here, and Merry Christmas. It's still Christmas. I just finished recording and posting episode 122 on why to use a document review service like the one that we offer to protect you against making any mistakes or the agent making mistakes or doing something illegal. And I happened to go to iTunes and look under my reviews and found a 2-star review, which is very abnormal for me. I've got 2 1-star reviews, so people that hated the show, 47 5-star reviews, and then 1 review for 4 stars and then 1 for 2 stars. Basically 47 5 stars, 1 4-star, and then 3 that are somewhere less than that. And this is going to be helpful for you. I want to read this review to you, and also I'll issue a personal challenge to whoever this is, Zezeco, Zezeco. I'm not sure how to find out who these people are. But I want to read Zezeco's review, which is called Mixed Bag, because it's really instructive on why I created this podcast and why I do what I do, and the type of criminals or, again, it doesn't matter whether they do it on purpose, whether it's ignorance or immorality, but the type of misinformation and criminal behavior that exists out there, really liars that exist to hurt you. Now this person, the reason I say the coward that left this review is because you'll hear in the review, this person has listened to a lot of my podcasts, which means they know for a fact that I offer the Coward Challenge. And I want to give you guys an update on the Coward Challenge if you haven't heard the earlier shows, but I've been doing this since the middle of 2016 and offering anybody in the country, any advisor, anybody from any industry really, but any advisor or any consumer that disagrees with anything I have to say can come on the show publicly or meet me on TV or somewhere where the public is going to see it to hold us both accountable and have a debate with me. And I started, I think, in May of 2016. Right now it's Christmas Day 2018. So 2.5 years later, guess how many people have agreed to publicly debate me or disagree with anything I've said in 122 episodes? If you said 0, you're spot on. Nobody has stepped up and said what you're saying isn't true. Nobody has stepped up and been man or woman enough to challenge anything I'm teaching, yet every day they go to work, if they're in the financial services industry, and continue to rip people off and hurt the people I care about the most, which is you. So this person had the audacity to publicly leave a negative review about the show. So now we're at odds, and I'm going to correct them harshly. And Zezeco, if you were man enough or woman enough to actually come on the show instead of hiding behind iTunes, you'd actually have an opportunity to share your beliefs. However, I would put you to shame, and so I understand why you did it the way that you did, like a coward. So here's what the review says, guys. It says, it gets 2 stars from me. 1 for pointing out questionable practices from financial advisors, another 1 for occasionally giving useful advice. And I'm fine with that. Not everybody has to like my show, that's fine. The review continues. The first one is repeated to exhaustion, and frankly, a bit of a straw man fallacy, which is setting something up that's not really true and then knocking it down. That's what straw man means. The second is mixed with hours, over 100 podcasts, so this person has listened to a lot of podcasts, of advice varying from inane to outright dangerous. Example, annuities are better than index mutual funds and stocks, failing to mention their fees, low yield, and tax consequences. Avoid if you know more than the basics of personal finance. So the reason I want to use this as an example for you guys is this is the kind of trash, this is the kind of faulty thinking or warped mind that runs the financial services industry. No doubt this person is out there giving advice, at least to friends and family, if not doing it professionally and hurting people every day. Let's jump into a few pieces here, okay? Varying advice from inane to outright dangerous. And the example of dangerous advice that my show is giving is saying annuities are better than index mutual funds or stocks. So let's just stop right here. Annuities. There's 2 things you could do with an annuity. So he's saying it's dangerous to say they're better than stocks and mutual funds. Well, there's 2 things that you can do with annuities. You can do guaranteed income, or you can do safe growth. And I'll talk a little bit about variable annuities in a minute, which isn't safe growth. But the annuities that I teach on the show, this person would know, are either safe growth with no losses or guaranteed income. So let's pick the first, the way you've heard me teach in-case account, income account, and increase account. If it's an income account strategy, we're going to use an income annuity with guaranteed income. If it's an increase account, we're going to use a growth annuity. So let's first go to income annuities. So he says, it's outright dangerous to say that annuities are better than index mutual funds or stocks. Well, index mutual funds and stocks don't give guaranteed income for life no matter how long you live, no matter what the market does, even if you run out of money. So just an idea, sort of the low level of understanding that this person has and actually how dangerous they are. It sounds like they would actually tell somebody you should be in index mutual funds or stocks instead of annuities, even if that person needed income, which retirement is always and always has been about income replacement. You need a fixed income, or better yet, an increasing income to cover inflation. Stocks, bonds, and mutual funds cannot even provide that on any guaranteed basis. So here's the first part where if this person actually would show up on the show, I would destroy them. Absolutely slaughter their integrity, slaughter their credibility throughout the industry, because it's criminal behavior to tell somebody who needs income that they should be in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. And this person actually put their name on the advice to say that it's dangerous for me to say annuities are better. Folks, getting a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of your life cannot be simulated by stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. Well, he only mentions mutual funds and stocks. Bonds can give you some sort of paycheck if they don't default. So mutual funds and stocks, the dividends aren't guaranteed. There's no guaranteed performance. There's fees. There's ups and downs. This is why I do the show, because of crazy crap like this. So if we're talking about the advice I give on several of these shows about income annuities, we know for a fact that this guy's lost his marbles. So let's pretend, because I'm assuming he's actually addressing what I talk about with growth annuities, where you use an annuity instead of more traditional growth strategies like mutual funds and stocks. So what's a growth annuity, by the way, as I've talked about on the show, and as the videos that I've linked to, just go to watchcharlie.com and you can see the videos on Increase Accounts Part 1 and Increase Accounts Part 2. So what I've been very open about, there's nothing hidden. I'm not hiding behind any review service and making jabs. I'm right out here with 123 episodes at this point for anybody to see and listen and know exactly what I teach, and challenge me if you think you're man or woman enough. If it's growth annuities, and he's saying it's dangerous to tell people to use growth annuities because they're better than index mutual funds and stocks, what we need to do is define what better means. In the increase account world, or the growth world, better, very simply, means a higher account value. Over 10, 20 years, that you have more money in the account than with another strategy would make it better, and the one that's worse would have less money. Well, if you look at the stock market from 2000 to 2017, it went up about 5.5%. If you look at indexed annuities during that time, they went up more than that, which this person obviously either didn't take the time to go research, or even worse yet, knows and is trying to hide from us and hurt people. Now, this is where we know that this person has very little either intelligence or experience, because in the review it says, example, annuities are better than index mutual funds and stocks, failing to mention their fees. Time out. Anytime someone says that, you know that their licenses should be taken away from them, or they should be publicly flogged. Failing to mention their fees. This is the same problem I have with one of the biggest guys in the industry who says, I hate annuities and you should too, because he says most annuities have nosebleed level fees. Neither one of these guys, whether billionaire or whether coward podcast reviewer, Zizeko, neither one of them would last 5 or 10 minutes in a debate with me, and they know that, which is why they don't show up. So let's just talk about fees in the annuity world, because this is such a joke when people talk about that we don't mention the fees in annuities. What types of, just go back and listen to the episode, 6 types of annuities and how to use them. There's a bunch of different types of annuities. Let's just take them. You have a fixed annuity. You can buy an annuity for 5 or 10 years, just like a CD, and it might pay 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever it is. It's just like a CD. You buy a term, you get the same interest every single year for as long as you own it. And what are the fees in that annuity, which tons of those are sold? What are the fees? 0. No fees whatsoever. Okay, well, that's interesting. How about an indexed annuity? So you buy an annuity, like I teach, where we compete with mutual funds and stocks, and they have done better than mutual funds and stocks. I'm sorry, Zizeko, that you haven't done your research or you're trying to hide it to hurt people, but they have compounded more than the stock market unless you don't know how to do your research. Let's say we're talking about that. So when the market goes down, you don't lose a penny. When the market goes up, you get some portion of it, 80% of it, the first X% of it, whatever it is. What are the fees inside of an indexed annuity? 0. There are no fees in indexed annuities. Okay, this is getting interesting. If you go through the 6 types of annuities and you listen to me talk about it in that podcast, you'll find out that only 2 of them even have fees, and one of them is optional. Let's talk about the optional fee. You can take an indexed annuity and add a fee for about 1% if you'd like to turn it into an income annuity, to have a guaranteed income for life, even if you run out of money. The insurance company is saying, we're going to charge you 1% a year if you want us to cover your backside, and if you run out of money and hit 0, and in every strategy Zizeko or anybody else could give you, when you hit 0, there's no more income. When your account hits 0, you can't take money out anymore. But the insurance company says, if you let us take a 1% fee off of basically your death benefit, when you hit 0, we will still pay you the same exact income. You still have a money tree creating a paycheck for life for as long as you and your spouse shall live, and for that, covering your backside and giving you tons of our own money so you can live until you pass away, we charge a 1% fee while you still have an account. We basically are charging your heirs a fee and taking it out of your inheritance. Well, that's a choice. You don't have to have a fee if you don't want it. If you value guaranteed income, you can choose to have a fee, but it's totally optional. The only annuity, and guys, this is where you know this person truly does not know anything about personal finance or is just a scammer. The only annuity that has fees is the variable annuity. And guess what a variable annuity is? A variable annuity is buying an annuity. So you have kind of a tax framework around it, right? You buy it from an insurance company and it's either tax deferred or whatever. And inside of it, what do they buy? Basically, they buy mutual funds and stocks. So the only annuity that even has fees that you wouldn't want is the one where you buy exactly what he tells you to buy. When he says examples, annuities are better than indexed mutual funds and stocks. So I knew this when I started the podcast in 2016. I go, okay, I know my stuff inside and out. Most people are cowards. They're not going to be able to debate me. They're not even going to choose to. I thought somebody would step up to the plate, and all the 5-star reviews that I have, I've been pretty happy with the way you guys have been commenting on the show, and I thank you. If you've reviewed the show, thank you very much. That helps me tremendously. It helps other people. You're part of the revolution. You're part of the movement to change what this industry is doing to retirees, to my parents, to my grandparents, to your loved ones. This industry is hurting people on purpose, and nobody's policing that or stopping it. And I started the podcast to give the industry a spanking and kind of stand up. We're creating a shockumentary that's going to take things even further and deeper and truly expose what the joker brokers and people like Zizeko are doing on purpose or through their ignorance to hurt you. If you're going to leave a comment and you're going to give me 1 star or 2 stars or say you don't like the show, what I'd expect is you say, I don't like that Charlie sings songs. I don't like that he does Alvin and the Chipmunks voices or whatever it is. I don't like that he tells jokes or makes weird voices. If you're going to comment on the content of the show publicly and put your name on it, don't you think it would be intelligent to do a little research ahead of time and not make mistakes in your comments that show how stupid you are? Annuities have beat mutual funds and stocks, period, Zizeko, If you say anything other than that, you're ignorant or you're a liar, and you can come on the show with whatever baloney research you've gotten from Dave Ramsey and try to stand up to me, and you'll run away with your tail between your legs. Because 2 + 2 is always 4, no matter what arrogant fool says it's 5. Now, if you're going to say that annuities have fees and that I'm failing to mention them, you might have been intelligent to listen to my podcast entitled The 6 Types of Annuities and How to Use Them, and understand that I addressed the fees. You actually could have learned the truth from me before making yourself look so stupid, and you could have learned that annuities don't have hidden fees. That's just something that joker brokers teach each other and tell each other to remain ignorant and immoral and go hurt people. If you're telling people to get into mutual funds and stocks, you're hurting people for a living, you're hiding what's best for them, and you are what's wrong with this industry. So if you're still listening to these podcasts, I'm going to invite you to have your own show with me and bring any of your bogus, baloney, stupid research, and then I'm going to put you to shame in front of my audience, and you'll have 2 choices. You can repent, join the revolution, and cross from the dark side to the light side and be one of the good guys, or you can just be publicly humiliated, which is at least being more of a man or a woman than hiding behind some review where you lie to my listeners. So I'm not very happy with this review, not because... Guys, listen, I understand there's people that don't like my show. I've been doing this 2.5 years. Trust me, I get the mail. And I'm very the way I am. I'm a weirdo, right? You guys who continue to listen to the show, it's probably because you like Monty Python and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. This is not a stuffy, Thurston Howell, this is not a show where I'm trying to be all posh and professional. It's edutainment, right? I'm doing education and entertainment at the same time, trying to give you guys some incredible information to avoid scam artists like Zizeko. Or maybe he's not a scam artist. Maybe he's just incredibly ignorant and arrogant enough to speak out without knowing what he's talking about. By the way, he says failure to mention their fees, which he completely gets wrong. Annuities don't have fees unless you choose them, or unless you're really scammed into a variable annuity, which you could buy all those mutual funds without all the fees. You have 4 times the fees for the same stupid mutual funds you could buy without them. Low yield, which just tells us, he says their fees, low yield, and tax consequences. Well, low yield, it just means he hasn't done any research. Are there annuities that haven't paid well? Yeah. Do most musicians make good money? I think was another one of my episodes. No, most musicians don't make good money. But you can't say musicians don't make good money, because Elton John and Taylor Swift and, I don't know, Demi Lovato, whatever, they're doing all right. You know what I mean? Shawn Mendes is killing it, right? They're making money, so no one can say musicians don't make good money, and you can't say annuities have a low yield. That just proves your ignorance and inexperience in the industry, that you haven't done your research. And then it says, and tax consequences, which doesn't make any sense. You can buy an annuity that's a Roth IRA annuity, you can buy an IRA annuity, or you can buy a non-qualified annuity. So let's just talk about the 3 different types, tax treatments that an annuity could have, and show how stupid this comment is. If you buy a Roth annuity with Roth, you have a Roth IRA account, you transfer it to an annuity, there's no tax consequences. It's just a Roth. You already paid the taxes. In the future, you're not going to pay taxes. All right, that's easy. IRA. So you transfer a 401k or a 403b or 457 or an IRA into an IRA annuity. Nothing changes. There's no tax consequences. It's the same as it was before. You're postponing taxes to a later date, and then you're going to pay taxes. So that doesn't make any sense. So far this comment is completely useless. And here's where you know this person either is lying about having listened to my show, or listened and isn't intelligent enough to have heard anything. Non-qualified annuities. If you put money that's after tax money, you get an inheritance, you sell a house, you take money out of your paycheck and slowly build it up, whatever. Take money from cash in the bank, and you put it into a non-qualified annuity. So it's an after-tax annuity. It's not a Roth. It's not an IRA. It has some tax problems. It's not taxed as well as mutual funds or stocks. So this is the only place this guy even comes close to saying anything with any level of intelligence. Other than that, it's complete and total trash. But if you listen to my show, you'd understand that we don't do non-qualified annuities unless somebody wants a guaranteed income for life. Non-qualified money should go into cash value life insurance and grow tax-free like a Roth IRA. That's what the 7 or 8 shows on tax-free growth are all about, silly head. No one gets to our firm and we say, you know what, take all the non-qualified money in your life and take it out of mutual funds and stocks and put it into an annuity so you could be taxed at higher rates. Nobody says that. Talk about setting up a straw man and knocking it down. You're commenting on something we don't do. Tax planning is one of the things we do best in the industry. And again, I'd love to debate you, Zizeko, on tax planning and see if you know anything at all. The last part of this review is the best. Avoid if you know more than the basics of personal finance. Avoid the show completely if you know a little bit more than the basics of personal finance. Well, let me just show you how it would shred this person's credibility if they ever had the cojones to get on the show with me. The basics of personal finance are covered in my episode called The 3 Pillars of Financial Deception. Now, the sound quality is terrible. It sounds like I'm hiding in a sewer for some reason, but the content is there. The basics of personal finance are why I do what I do. The basics of personal finance in the United States of America is you should pay off your mortgage because interest is bad. You should postpone taxes to a later date when you're supposed to be in a lower tax bracket. And you should diversify your portfolio using stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and basically put everything at risk but spread it around. All 3 of those are complete and totally untrue. All 3 of those are scams. All 3 of those are purposefully taught by criminals and ignorant advisors who are hurting you. None of them are what's best for you. Period. Non-debatable. 2.5 years, nobody's ever challenged me or been willing to put their reputation on the line to challenge any of those 3. Why? Because I've done more research than any of you have on that, you advisors who are listening, and you know you're going to look like a fool. You should not pay off your mortgage. It hurts you in every possible way except for some fake emotional benefit that you've made up in your head. Most people should not postpone taxes to a later date because you will not be in a lower tax bracket when you're making more money than you've ever made. You have to take raises to pay for inflation, and you have no deductions because you paid off your mortgage, your kids have moved out, and you're not putting money in IRAs. Most people should not spread their money around stocks, bonds, and mutual funds because they don't make as much money as annuities and life insurance, no matter how many fools and cowards want to lie to you by leaving coward reviews on my podcast on iTunes. Guys, nothing changes the truth. Any loudmouthed windbag can say anything. Avoid if you know more than the basics of personal finance, where they actually in their review expose that they know nothing about personal finance and haven't done any research either on my show or on the things I talk about like annuities. Any windbag can do that. What I'd like to do, I never ask for anything. But I've now posted 2 episodes on Christmas, my 2 Christmas presents for you. I'd like to ask you for a Christmas present. I'd like to ask you to do something for me, and I never do this. I don't want money. I never ask for money. Those of you who become clients is wonderful. We love you. What I'd like to ask for you is that you'd go to iTunes and review the show. Just type into any browser, Renovating Retirement, iTunes, Renovating Retirement Podcast, iTunes, or Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett, iTunes, whatever it is. Just go to the show, right? And you'll get to the homepage or whatever, or you can open it in iTunes on your computer if you know how, and there's just a place to give it 1 through 5 stars, and then even better, if you'll write a little review. Take you 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I would just like to hear your opinion of the show. I understand what ignorant cowards say. I want to know what my faithful listeners have to say to other people. You guys do understand, when people are looking for a podcast, they're looking for social proof before they listen. They want to know, have other people benefited from this? And when we have cowards who don't do their research, lying to them, that's not helpful. And he's actually hurting people. He or she is hurting people through the platform that I've created of my show, and I'm not happy with that. So I'd like you to rise up as a group of people, as a tribe that care about others, and go leave as many reviews as you possibly can on iTunes for Renovating Retirement. Click however many stars you think it's worth, and then click write a review and just give some words of how it's been helpful for you, and that can be your Christmas present to me. And I'd be so appreciative if you would do that and help me to reach more people, because obviously the bad guys are still out there in full force, leaving ridiculous reviews full of nonsensical comments, ignorance and immorality spread all throughout. They're still out there doing that even on my show. Thank you guys. Merry Christmas. And I do this because I think you people are the best.